My name is Jolene Seisau, researcher at the Data Science Research Group at HZ University of Applied Sciences. In this video, I will be elaborating on the process and steps taken in the Move SCITHOS project. First up, we started with the exploration of available data. For the simulation to run properly, we need information on the different groups of people living in the area of interest or visiting the area of interest. Additionally, we need information about the resources within the area of interest. We used publicly accessible data from Statistics Netherlands for basic demographic information, such as the number of inhabitants in the area of Domburg, the number of inhabitants in different age groups, and housing facilities. A report of the research on the livability and tourism in the municipality of Veere, where the city of Domburg is located, provided us with information concerning tourism, touristic resources, and the impact of tourism. Finally, Google Maps data helped us to further expand our data of available resources. The 2019 Zeeland Transport Flows research brought forward information based on survey data and GPS data that could be used for the mobility part of the data file. For setting up the data of the personas and their behavior, we used the theme publication published by the HZ Research Center Coastal Tourism on tourism segmentation in the province of Zeeland. For this part, we also used the aforementioned report on livability and tourism. In setting up the main data file using the data we gathered, the following 4 categories are especially important: personas, resources, mobility, and behavior, which is also called persona rules. The personas are the agents in the simulation model. They represent different groups of people grouped together primarily based on their behavior, which in turn is based on their wants and needs. We distinguished 3 different main groups: tourists, that are visitors that stay 1 or more nights in the area of interest, day visitors, and inhabitants. Each group is differentiated in smaller subgroups based on their type. For the tourists and day visitors, the theme publication on tourist segments in the province of Zeeland was used, creating 5 tourist personas and 5 day visitor personas. For the inhabitants, Statistics Netherlands data helped to differentiate 6 inhabitant personas. For now, a total of 16 personas are present in the simulation. When talking about resources, these can be anything where a person can travel towards and spend time at. There is the base of operation that can either be a home for an inhabitant, a tourist accommodation for a tourist, and even a bus stop for a day visitor. For activities, the resource types are quite diverse, ranging from museums, cafes and cinemas, to outdoor resources such as the beach and walking trails. Other relevant resources, specifically for the inhabitants, include educational facilities and job locations. Mobility defines the way the personas travel from resource to resource. The availability of mobility options of the area of interest has been taken into account in the data file, and each persona has been assigned rules that determine their preference for a certain means of transportation. This preference is based on information from the 2019 Zeeland Transport Flows report. The behavior, also called persona rules, determines what a persona is likely to do and even what follow-up activity is likely. For example, some people tend to almost always visit a beach pavilion after spending time at the beach. The persona rules are like a bucket list. When you visit an area, you might be eager to check out a famous local museum. However, once you have visited the item on the top of your bucket list, the likelihood you will visit it again diminishes. The simulation takes into account this varying degree of wanting to visit a resource. For determining behavior, GPS data collected by the University of Ghent has been explored, but provided too little information to determine valuable insights in persona behavior. In the future, GPS data, provided enough is collected for the area of interest, can help to make the simulation more accurate. It can provide important information about the persona behavior and even bring to light new personas. For the experimentation phase of the project, we completed multiple iterations. We started off with trying to map the resources and added more personas with each iteration. The other aspects of the data file, resources, mobility options, and persona rules, were also expanded on every time. The area of interest is Domburg. However, we also took into account neighboring areas that tourists are likely to visit during their stay and included these in the data file. The simulation allows for metrics to be calculated, such as the number of people traveling and the number of people at a certain location. In the future, other metrics can be considered, for example, measurements concerning sustainability, such as the amount of litter and CO2 emissions. Finally, we created a data file to try and simulate a scenario where capacity of resources is lowered, mimicking the 1.5 meter social distancing rules that are currently into place due to the coronavirus. To conclude, the results so far are a data file for the area of interest, Domburg, and some surrounding areas, including Oostkapelle, Westkapelle, Aagtekerke, and Middelburg. A working simulation for this area of interest containing multiple personas is possible. A base scenario exists from which different scenarios can be developed, and we have already developed an alternative scenario simulating social distancing. The way this simulation has been set up can also be done for other areas of interest, given that the necessary data is available. When looking towards opportunities to use this simulation tool outside of the current Move SCITHOS project, it has to be noted that so far little attention has gone to optimizing intuitiveness and user-friendliness when it comes to setting up the data file and the simulation.